Check, check. Who's in the house? Just making sure that the video is visible because I'm not seeing it. 1 second. We'll amend things if necessary. Okay, yeah, there it is. Boom. All right, what's up, everybody? You have video and sound. Thank you very much. Cool. Kayfabe crew, I have to thank you once again. You have made my dreams come true, man, because I've been making a very, very weird comic book over the past year throughout COVID and all of that stuff, and already you guys made this thing a hit. Between a few comics that have been put out there for stores to order. Right now it's the first issue of Red Room, and the free comic book day comic is something that stores have to buy. And I just got word that there are going to be over 75,000 free comic book day comics out there. And just to give some context, the other two free comic book day comics that I had, one was the Hip Hop Family, well, I mean, both were Hip Hop Family Tree. They came out well after the Hip Hop Family Tree comic was established, and one, the first free comic had a circulation of about 45,000, and the second Hip Hop Family Tree free comic book day comic that was ganged up with a Dash Shaw story hit 50,000 copies. So to have 75,000 copies of, or actually it's going to be more, it might crest 100, of a comic that's brand new, you guys haven't really seen. It's fucking cool. I think that's a pretty cool omen. You guys are showing up in a big way, supporting the comic to a huge extent, and it's a crazy comic. You know, this is a hardcore, insane comic full of violence, gore, death, murder, torture. And it was my thesis that while everybody is going toward, you know, the young adult space or whatever, let's go to the real young adult space and make a comic that I would actually read as a teenager. And that's exactly what Red Room is, and you guys are agreeing, so gotta thank you. You're gonna hear me thanking you quite often in these streams in these forthcoming weeks. Joe Anderson, thanks so much for that super chat. Now here's the thing, though, the stores are my customers. We sell the comics to the shop. They're not returnable, so they gotta sell those comics. I need you guys to show up in a big way. If you didn't pre-order the comic, then make sure you go to your favorite store, get it put on your pull list. One thing I did not do when I started up this chat, I knew I was forgetting something. So let me pin a comment real quick, and it'll take you to the collection tab. Let's see. It'll take you to the Fantagraphics website where you could pre-order the comics. One moment. Hope you guys are all having a very nice Sunday night before the work week begins. You know, shit never stops when it comes to making comics. So boom, there's the link hit that up, pre-order your Red Room comics. There are 4 issues available to be pre-ordered right this moment. And that's pretty much for people here in the States who don't have access to a cool comic shop, or who want their comics delivered like Grubhub or something, Amazon Prime, to their own cribs. Everybody else, go to your comic shop. Support your comic shop. We need to keep these guys healthy. I like the way you think, Trevor. It says 100,000 copies for issue 2 or we riot. Another consequence of you guys showing up in this big way is that there will be people who feel comfortable making and expressing these kinds of crazy ideas in comics now that they know that it could be a viable option. So it could be a sign, like, I mean, I'm going to need continued support for the comic so that it's not some fluke thing, yada yada. But if it's road tested, we're going to see more crazy comics, and we need more crazy comics. Can I show you guys some of the pages? This is page 5 of the second issue of the second wave. So you see on the cover of the Red Room comics that are available, this first wave, this first trade is called the Antisocial Network. The next one, I think I'm going to call it Trigger Warnings, dedicated to everybody who will hate this comic. But let me show you this. The new stuff here, man. I call this strip Pumpkins because that's the name of the characters, and it's Punkinz, Pumpkins. So here they are right there. They're the characters that you saw in the thumbnail. And it starts off with the Pumpkins dead, hanging from some duct work or whatever that is up there, man. I stole this kind of duct stuff looking closely at John Byrne, Terry Austin X-Men comics, like when Wolvie was down there in the sewer. I inked this piece on the stream one time. You know, real gnarly looking dude with his face peeled off. It looks good with the tones. You should check out my Instagram to see the finished version. This is like one of my nightmares from when I was younger, man. The idea of painting graffiti remotely and then happening upon some shit you're not supposed to see. And in their case, there's a guy about to get killed. This page I almost dedicate to the Kayfabers out there, man. I almost like drew this page with you guys in mind. So the guy who had the gun to his head gets kicked in the face, and the kicker says, "Screwing my wife in my own bed was one thing, but pilfering from my comic book collection is something else." And then the toothless victim dude says, "She said she was a widow. I'm sorry, please don't," because he's got no teeth. And then as the click-clack is happening, our guy's just naming off the comics that are missing from his collection. Caliber presents issue 1, 9.8 grade. New Mutants issue 98, 9.6 grade. Blam! My TMNT issue 1 first printing. And as our guys are watching, like, Jesus, homeboy's like, shh. Miracle Man 15, 9.8 grade. Blam! My entire run of Cerebus. Blam! And these guys that are watching, like, you could see the look on his face. He's not scared or anything, but the chick is watching intently, big eyes, doe-eyed. She's never seen anything like this. He whispers, "You good, Jan?" And she says, "Richie, this is the raddest thing I ever saw. This is the moment where the couple has just become closer than they ever thought, because they share this darkness of psychopathy, sociopathy. They are dead inside. And now it's revealed that they both, to each other, that they are both fucking dead inside. And this makes them get bound a little bit stronger." Which brings us to the page we're working on now. See, Kim, thanks for that super chat. In the world of Red Room, comic books are like a dominant form of entertainment. There's like some comic book references in probably every issue at a certain point, just because it's as popular as movies. Because I'm the creator of this world and I say so. I'm learning so much about writing as I put this comic together. These are some of the most thoughtful characters that I've built. And this is gearing up to be the best comic I ever created. As it stands right now, the Red Room Free Comic Book Day comic is the best comic I ever created, and you're going to be able to get your hands on that for the sum total of $0.00. But the reason that that comic is the best thing I've ever created is because that's just the last one I put the final touches on. That's the Juniper story you're going to be able to get. The story that I definitely worked on here in the streams a bunch. Real happy to be with you guys. You know, I'm so appreciative. And doing these streams has been a gas. I must have worked on over 100 pages on various streams. Kept some of them, deleted some of them, just because I was playing copywritten music or whatever. Kurako, hope you got my email. Send me that link to that manga that you were telling me about. I didn't know how to plug those numbers in, so I couldn't find the strip you were talking about. If you guys haven't done so, please pre-order issue 2. We're going to be cutting off orders pretty soon for that. And man, I would like a fraction of what we sold for issue 1. Issue 1 of Red Room, thanks to you guys, thanks to Peach Momoko, thanks to Jimmy Jam Rugg. It's the most popular comic I ever had out of the gate. More popular than my X-Men comics. And the amount of copies that we sold, you know, I don't know if I'll be able to get cogent numbers because there are now a few other distribution mechanisms. But it might be a top 10 comic for May. Like, you guys goosed it up that fucking much. Fantagraphics has never been on that list. But you guys goosed those numbers up like that, man. Fucking unbelievable. So cool. And all that said, you know, this is like a weird invention. This is a new kind of comic. You guys don't know what this is yet. It's going to be a while. And I mean, unless you hit my Patreon up. When it comes time for Jimmy to mention what he's working on, I need you guys to show up in a big way for him. It's going to be incredible. I've seen some of it. And I mean, it's going to be the best comic out. You know, Red Room and his thing. Lots is going to change when the tag team has both have their shits out on the stands at the same time. Trevor, is The Mask an outlaw book? I have to say yes. The stuff that would have been in Dark Horse Presents, very outlaw. When will the review take place? I confess I don't have much of that stuff. You know? Got to get my hands on something. Very often, that's the only reason things don't get reviewed. Or if there's like a glaring omission or something, we just simply might not have the books. If you got doubles, send them our way. But I was actually just reading about The Mask and checking out like the earliest versions that, you know, Mike Richardson worked on and stuff. Totally outlaw. Yes, you know what? Send me your fan art, people. Issue 2, like the comics will be about 24 pages long, 22 to 24 pages long, but it costs the same amount to print up a 32-page book. So in issue 2, I think there's an 8-page gore gallery. You know, maybe more than a dozen people have fan art in there. And I would love to include your fan art as well. Got to make it fly. Got to make some dope shit. The competition is heavy. One way that you could almost guarantee space in there is if you cosplay or tattoo, because that's a real fucking ego stroker. But if your art is fly, man, law of averages says you might get in there. It will be crazy to see what happens when these 56,000 copies of issue 1 are out there, and see what kind of feedback we get in terms of fan art and stuff. That might become a little overwhelming. But you guys are here. Look, man, we're in a room, 77 people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys have precedent right now if you whip something up quick before the first issue comes out, because when, you know, approaching 100,000 people get their hands on the comic, that might dilute the waters with sort of outsiders who just happen upon the book rather than who are the tried and true, like you guys. got the mama character here in curlers because the feds just came, busted in their house, took the brother away. You know, you do stuff like this. This is nonverbal storytelling. When you see stuff like this, your brain is making connections. Like, all right, man, they're taking this dude away. These people were not prepared to have the Jakes show up. Yeah, email me and make your fan art kind of submission file. Make the file name your name if you want credit. You know, if you want to be listed, because otherwise it'll just be overwhelming. This is going to be a cool piece right here. So basically the boyfriend is talking to the girlfriend and is like, you kind of inspired, like, you impressed me because you didn't get rattled seeing that guy get shot a bunch of times, and then reveals that he has, you know, his brother got arrested for having, like, trading Red Room videos, and Red Room videos are illegal because it inspires the economy of Red Rooms, it's like incentivizes, if you fuck with them, like, it incentivizes the creators to continue building their businesses and stuff. So the feds arrest the big brother, it's the little brother, house is all torn up, but the kid is you know, fixing his room and is just shaking his Millennium Falcon not action figure, but toy vehicle, and out falls some USB thumb drives. And the girl's like, you have Red Room videos? Let's watch them. I'm just going to have a very subtle, no frills sound effect here of a rattle rattle. And then the same deal here, just a plunk. Maybe make this one a little bit more something or other. Paper Abyss, thanks for joining, man. Yeah, I don't think I've seen you show up before. But the streams are fun, and the streams are full of makers, man. And it sounds like if your name's Paper Abyss Comics, you might have some maker in you as well. So, you're among friends. I'm just skipping around for the F of it. There's not any real gore anchors here. Oh yeah, there is like a little bit of a thing here. So like this kid, the character lives in, the boyfriend girlfriend, they live in like a trailer, like a mobile home, and while they're talking, a bunch of the neighborhood kids are kind of sneaking in the window, like watching. And these are the two cowboy kids from Gummo and the little, you know, the little rabbit-eared kid from Gummo. So for those that are hip, you already know. And if not, go see Gummo. Yes, sir. Gummo was a fucked up movie. And this is a fucked up comic. I'm trying to think, like, where do I even fucking begin with this Millennium Falcon? Maybe I'll just ink this with a fine liner. Go with the 0.5. The mutant leader has no left nipple for a panel. Probably returned from the Red Room. Funny you say that, because there's definitely some nipple excisions in this issue that I'm working on. It turns out the Pumpkins characters are some vicious little devils, and you're going to see many examples why. And you know how this goes, man. Spoilers abound in the stream. I don't keep that stuff very private here, so you pop in at the right time, you very well will see me drawing those pages. Slight autobiography in these comics sometimes, and this piece with the contraband and a Millennium Falcon. When I was a little kid, that's how I would I didn't have a piggy bank. I just hid my loot in my Millennium Falcon toy. Man, it's intimidating to draw a Millennium Falcon after looking at Al Williamson do it. You know what I'm saying? Even though I'm quite sure he subscribed a little bit to the Wally Wood school when he was putting that shit together, man. You know, why trace? Why draw when you could trace? But fuck it, man. His comics kicked ass. Just kayfabing it with like fake weird details. Not even sure if these are accurate. But you got the main ones, right? You got the kind of this thing. You got the satellite dish. You got the sphincter up front here. And let's face it, Disney wouldn't be so happy with their prized possessions being in a Red Room comic anyhow. I do bet that you weren't expecting a Millennium Falcon to materialize before your eyes in a Red Room ink stream. But we gotta hit you unorthodox every now and then. Read Barry Windsor Smith's Monsters in One Sitting. Good for you, man. I hope you had more sunlight than Jimmy and I did when we were reading that stuff. Pretty hardcore. Great comic, though. I did watch the Brian Pillman episodes of Dark Side of the Ring. One of the beautiful things about that show is that so much of it depends on the oration, and that means that I could just hang out and draw while watching. So while I might not have seen so many images of Brian Pillman in his Cincinnati Bengals cocksock G-string, I clearly heard everything and really, really dug it. You know, I've become friends with Evan and Jason, the producers and director of that show. You know, we had Evan on a shoot interview here, and I definitely recommend you guys check out Power Comics, their YouTube channel, where they dig through old school, like black and white 80s outlaw comics, and just kind of read them, dissect them, talk about them, enjoy them. So, you know, they're comic heads too. But, yeah, great job. Shouts to Jason and Evan for the Dark Side of the Ring. Great companion for me while sitting here making my comics. There it goes, before your eyes. Little Millennium Falcon. And what's happening is the boy's shaking. Like he hears a rattle. Inside his toy. The other cool thing about Power Comics is that friend of Kayfabe, Benjamin Mara, is on very regularly. He might be like, you know, a new member of Power Comics or something. Put a little band-aid on our guy just to have something visually fun to look at. Something to make it feel a little lived in. Discuss how I do my lettering. By hand, man. What's to discuss? I use a 0.5 micron, 0.8 for the bold. And voila. We don't truck fonts around these parts. We're not typists, we're letterers. First time I'm really lettering on the board for Red Room. What I was doing was just lettering on a big sheet of paper and plunking it in when I did my roughs and stuff. But this has been working out. Comic Sans, get the fuck out of here, man. Yeah, use the Ames guide, of course. Had this Ames guide for a million years, man, since I was a kid. Actually got a couple Ames running for different sizes and stuff. You might be hearing clothes dry if you hear a little rattle off to the side. It's a Sunday, chores day. You know how it goes. Yeah, Joe, welcome to the channel. Glad you're here. In some ways, the channel has a very similar function for you as it does for us. You guys fill in a lot of gaps in our own knowledge. You know, every time, almost like clockwork, when we have a question, someone out there has an answer, and that just increases our awareness, our knowledge. It's really nice. You know, I'm very happy with the audience that we've cultivated through this platform. Yeah, it's an inkwell pen, dip pen, whatever you like to call it. It's good for getting like these very lively lines with some thick and thin built into them. You know, rather than the static line of your regular pen. Just Kayfabe and some sneaks, man. I didn't feel like referencing shit. The Bobos. Bobos are the striped socks here in Pittsburgh. Is that what you mean? Or you talk about the shoes? We definitely called striped socks Bobos. That's so funny. I haven't thought about that, Jesus, since elementary school. We also called them parties. Parties and Bobos. How'd you guys like that Art of Todd McFarlane book and video? Fun book. Fun book. I love seeing all that early McFarlane art. I'm so glad he kept so much of it. Like I said in the video, I do find that kind of thing very, very inspiring. Looking at, you know, the rough amateurish work. Watching a cartoonist like find their footing, hitting their stride, and then, you know, the late period. Yeah, that Photoshop Portachio, like whenever we were going through that comic, I don't think, like, my reaction to that was very genuine. Like, I really questioned my whole existence because I felt like I saw that photo before, and you know, what is this? Like, was there two photos? And then, like, right then and there, I wanted to like find the classic photo and see if I was just like smoking crack or something. But then afterward, when I was editing it and I found the thing, that was some wild shit. Uncle Todd editing out Hank Canals. And check out our shoot interview with Todd. Like, he definitely is not happy that Hank is in the flick. Makes sense. Dude didn't plunk down $1. The dude didn't sell a couple million comic books like the rest of the dudes. You know, basically you're looking at Rob's homeboy. Came along for the ride. I was watching some Uncle Todd stuff recently. Comics Tropes was real good. And there's going to be just straight lines there. And keep in mind, with all this stuff that you see, there's another level of detail that happens in the digital stage whenever I start plunking in my duotones. That's the other thing that's so fucking rad, guys, is that because this is bringing duotone back into people's consciousness, like, it's a duotone comic that sold as much as it sold. Like, so wild. Tim Vigil gave us numbers on Faust. He said about 50,000 at the height. And that was, one time. That was the, issue 1. There were way more comic stores then. You guys are making this thing a hit comic. We'll never stop thanking you. Gotta draw. The house is all tossed up after the feds left. So weird, like the way the temperature is right now and the humidity in the air. This ink just takes longer to dry than I'm used to. Usually it's pretty quick. Yeah, sure, we're gonna do shoot interviews again. It's a time issue. But I spoke with Jeff Darrow over the weekend for a little bit. I was actually heading out of the house and saw this weird number pop up on my phone. He lives in France, so it's like, you know, 2 numbers here, space, 2 numbers, space, 1 number, space. Like, what? I put the call out to Fantagraphics to see if they could hook us up with Barry Windsor Smith, but they said that he's not even really doing much press. He did that thing with Hibbs that you guys should definitely check out. I watched it, loved it, but I wouldn't hold my breath. He seems like a fickle feller. Mitchell Coleman, congrats on getting Miracle Man 15. Shit you not, I remember when that stuff was like $3. And it was just, man, it was that time when I was buying all that Image bullshit. And to me, like, Eclipse comics were like old people comics or something. Like, I would get mad when I would see Eclipse comics in the bins. Like, man, fuck this Eclipse shit. And then as you get older and wiser, it's like, god damn, I passed up some cool stuff. But if you've been on the channel long enough, you also know that we certainly did not pass up on lots of cool stuff too, so. Yeah, I never really read the Neil Gaiman Miracle Man comics. So, you know how it goes. We got to be authentic to ourselves when we make these lists. Because that is sort of the foundation, you know? So, I'm glad you contributed, you know, to the conversation if you mentioned the Gaiman Miracle Mans as being your pick for great unfinished comics. I really did like the finale of Alan Moore's run as like the ultimate statement on Miracle Man. Just like, all right, these superpowered beings, if they existed, expect fascism. They're going to decide who's good, who's bad, yada yada. And you're not going to have much to say on the matter. Oh, man. All right. Just wanted to hang out for like an hour, kick it with you guys. Super juiced up, basically warmed up, ready to go. What I'm going to do is bounce, and now that I'm in the inking mood, I'm just going to keep my head down on the page and finish this shit. So rather than not look at the chat, I'm going to opt to bounce, but not before thanking you guys for supporting the comic in such a big way. And please, once again, like, if you haven't done so already, pre-order your Red Room comics. You could order the first 4 issues through the Fantagraphics website. Go to your local comic shop, reserve your copies that way, get it put on your pull list. And 2 Wednesdays from now, first issue of Red Room's coming out. Oh, you know what? Let me go grab a bootleg real quick and let's take a quick look through it. As you can see, it's a meaty book. Here, let me see what the heck you guys are looking at too on my monitor. So this is a bootleg by this fella right there, and what they did was just hopped onto my Patreon, took the files and printed something up. We'll do like a director's commentary when the issue comes out. I was real happy with the way that turned out. Remember guys, keep the wheels off the ground to communicate speed. That's what you guys are paying for right there. Gnarly shit. Look at this, man. Transporting a dude in a box full of packing peanuts. Nice head wound. Nice severed head there. And we'll end on this, man. My ode to Todd McFarlane and Billy Kincaid. Look at those thick-ass nipples. They look like Slim Jims. Look at that body hair texture. I strategically placed the camera here so you didn't see his chode. It's pretty late here, man. 9:31 p.m. on the east. If this is one of the last images you see of the night, you're going to be dreaming of this, dude. Anyhow, order your Red Room comics. Thank you guys so much for supporting it in such a big way. I'm out. I will see you guys in the future stream.